Hey YouTube, Bob here. Well, in my last Amiibo hunting video, I elaborated on my plan to get the store exclusive figures for Wave 4. I'd already secured a pre-order from GameStop for the main 6 figures of Robin, Lucina, Charizard, Wario, Pac-Man, and Ness, but I'd have to be at work when the pre-orders for Greninja became available from Toys R Us on April 27th, and again when the Jigglypuff figure released at Target on May 29th. In an effort to get those figures, as well as the Silver Mario, which was just kind of unceremoniously thrown into the mix at the last minute, I once again enlisted the help of my friend Pat. If you saw the last video, you already know that Pat was successful in getting the Greninja pre-order, but this video is the account of his experience on May 29th as he attempted to secure Jigglypuff and Silver Mario. So here we go. So here he opens with a picture of the clock in his car showing a time of 4:55 a.m., which, whew, that's dedication. Thanks for getting there so early, Pat. And he gets in line, I guess, and apparently it's constant bird chirping. And he goes on to say no one else has arrived, but I think later on he finds out somebody else had already been there. He says, a guy just came out to inform us that they were limiting purchases to 2 total Amiibos and only 1 of each kind. Meyer let people purchase 1 of each type. They only limited it to 1 of each character. I always forget about Meyer. I always try to do Walmart if I'm going to do 24-hour stores. But yeah, there's Meyers around where I live too. And he says the next 2 people just showed up. And I say I'm glad for the limit because, you know, it means that if they got at least a case, which I think a case has 4 in it, I can't remember, I think it's 4, then you know what, he would definitely get them because if there's only 1 other person in front of him. But he says, no, I want multiples. He goes a little on the OCD end here, as you're going to see, just like I would if I were there. He says, how can people possibly get them with all these limits? You couldn't. If I were a collector, it would have driven me insane. The guy who's been in line since 12:40 a.m., see, yeah, it sounds like somebody was there before him, has to go to the bathroom but is afraid he'll lose his spot. The conversation thread is about everyone's hatred of Amiibo scalpers. One guy thinks that Silver Mario is a GameStop exclusive. Nope, that's Ness, and it was the Gold Mario at Walmart last time. He says the first woman ever just showed up. Yeah, I would bet pretty much it's typically guys at these things. I'm getting better about pretending I know what I'm talking about. A dude just asked me for my recommendation about which 2 he is getting. Someone asked me. If only he knew. And actually, Pat knows quite a bit about this. He does a lot of his own research, as I say here. But, of course, he wouldn't know nearly as much if it weren't for me asking him to do this for me. So how did that happen? How did he end up knowing so much? He says one kid brought his mom so he could get extras. In Toys R Us, one of our local Toys R Us is getting 96 Greninja. And I respond, what? And he goes, I know. And one thing, you know, after all the dust settled from the release of this Wave 4, Nintendo really has heard the complaints of the fans. Because even after Pat did this, I went to my GameStop to pick up Splatoon where I had pre-ordered it, and they had a bunch of Silver Marios just sitting on the counter. So it sounds like Nintendo's finally gotten a clue and it's making enough of these figures, at least for this wave. We'll see how it goes in the future. But anyway, after Pat confirms, I know, he says the GameStop debacle topic came up again. The guy next to me was 3rd in line and got nothing. And yeah, I do feel really bad about that still. In my GameStop, you may have seen the video that I posted about that. I was 1st in line, and I was the only one in line to get the main 6 figures of Wave 4 before the registers crashed for good at GameStop on that April 2nd, I think it was, for the in-store pre-order. But hopefully some other people are going to get their hands on them. And hopefully, you know, with these others being so plentiful, like the Silver Mario and the Greninja, that these will be in more supply as well. So next up, he says, only 10 people in line at this point. Now that there's less than an hour to go, it's time for all the amateurs to start showing up and being shocked that they won't get what they want. It's my favorite part. The countdown begins. 45 minutes, 30 minutes. And then I finally notice, oh yeah, I love your favorite part. Yeah, Pat calls everybody amateurs who don't get there in enough time. He says he knew I would love his favorite part. This Target only has 22 Jigglypuff. And it's funny how he's saying only has 22 because, you know, with Rosalina, the last store exclusive for Target, how many were stores getting? 2, 3, 4? 22 is quite a few. So I'm glad to see Nintendo starting to step this up a bit. Newest question is Robin the male or female Robin? And he goes, 15 minutes left. And then I see the Robin comment. I didn't even know that was a thing because, yeah, I'm not a fan of Fire Emblem. I think Robin's from Fire Emblem. Maybe, yeah, he was not from Xenoblade, right? Or she. But that goes to show you how much I know about the series. That's not for me. I'm not into those games. But as I say, I have the Amiibos pre-ordered because I'm going for a complete collection here. He says, how do you stand this? I have anxiety and I don't even collect them. 10 minutes. And I tell Pat, you are how I stand it. If you weren't doing this for me, I'd be insane and broke. And probably divorced, which is true. I love the order you said that. Yeah, it's just an afterthought. Okay, class is starting soon, so I can't respond, but I'll definitely be watching. I'll keep you informed. Yeah, Pat does keep me informed. And he says he's also going to keep me married, which is good. Thank you, Pat. 5-minute warning. 3-minute warning. The kid with his mom is supposed to be in class right now, but she let him skip class so he could be here. 2 minutes. And the doors are open. And then the next message, mission accomplished. And he's got the picture of the Jigglypuff and the Silver Mario. And I respond, you freaking rock. Just a smiley face. It's interesting. The last time Pat did this for me, after he got the Amiibo, my messages switched over to this weird group conversation thing. And then it switches back. I'm not sure why that is, but maybe it's something he's doing on his end. But anyway, he says, because of my OCD, you got 2 of each. I'm like, what? Where else did you go? Another Target. Now I'm outside of another local Target for a second Greninja. What have I done? Pat's going to all these stores. At least 20 of the people in line at Toys R Us were also in line at Target. Where do you factor into this whole mess? Do not get more Jigglypuff and Mario along with the Greninja, I said. I only really need one. And then he shows a picture of what's going on at the Toys R Us. 55 minutes to wait. The line is getting insane. It's about 100 people at this point. People keep driving and bringing food or drink to people in line. The kid next to me, a Sheldon if there ever was one, Sheldon from Big Bang Theory, just showed me a picture of his Amiibo collection, and he takes them out of the box. Pat knows I don't take mine out of the box. The first person in this Toys R Us line got here at 10:30 p.m. last night. One of the people in line said he was at a Walmart last night, midnight, and got Silver Mario. I tried to do that at a Walmart near me, and they said they didn't have it, and they really didn't. Question of the moment, who's your favorite Amiibo? I have no answer to that, says Pat. Now they're trying to trade a Little Mac and a Marth, whatever that means. Yeah, keep in mind, Pat has no idea. He just knows what I tell him. They can't give the Pac-Mans away. Yeah, it seems like Pac-Man's not selling as much as we thought it would. Silver Mario's out at this particular Toys R Us, but he's telling me I already have 2. Because the line is so long, they started to limit purchases to just one Amiibo. The guy in front of me is losing his crap. He must be upset about it. 30 minutes. I love that the amateurs who are showing up now are actually surprised and mad that the line is so long. The unfunny loud talker in this line is brutally unfunny, but he thinks he's hilarious. He's not, and I want to smack him. Oh, Pat. What I really want to do is go back to that Target and buy the 20 of their Jigglypuff. I'm obsessing. 20-minute warning. You know, I totally get why this many people would be in line for a cronut, but this is madness. Cronuts are delicious. 15-minute warning. The Eric kid, who has decided that I'm his new best friend, just told me that his hair was about to turn into bananas. I'm scared. 10 minutes. 5 minutes. And then here's a picture he sent of all the Greninjas on the shelf, which is awesome. I'm glad that they're finally having enough stock of these things. And they're starting to take measures, too, to, you know, guarantee that people get what they came for. As we see in this picture here that he posted about the limits that they were imposing on people, which is nice. Then he says registers are down, and apparently they did go down for a little bit, but apparently they came back up. So those are Pat's text messages about his mission here as far as getting me the Silver Mario and Jigglypuff and Greninja figures. And he was nice enough to recap it in an email, which I'll go through here for you too as well. I got to the local Target at 4:55 a.m. to find that I was already third in line. The person who was first in line got there at 12:30 a.m. after he bought as much as he could at Meijer beginning at midnight. They had and sold Silver Marios at midnight. The Target managers walked the line a few times to tell people that we could get only 2 total Amiibos. Target opened the doors promptly at 8, however they did say that once the line was done, anyone could get in line for a second trip, but that trip would still be limited to 2 Amiibos. I got 1 Jigglypuff and 1 Silver Mario. After I paid, I went to the bathroom, and by that time, the only Amiibo available was Pac-Man. Lots of Pac-Man available, which of course made me sad, because Pat's old school. Pac-Man's one of the video games he does remember. It was about 8:10 a.m. when I left the local Target and went directly to another local Target. They had tons of Amiibos with no limits. They had at least 20 Jigglypuffs, which I am still tempted to go back and buy. However, I did not buy all of them. I purchased 1 Jigglypuff and 1 Silver Mario and proceeded to another local Toys R Us. On a side note, at both the Target and the Toys R Us, there were a lot of early teen boys. They easily volunteered that they were skipping school so they could wait in line. In most cases, their mothers were with them sitting in the car bringing them food and water whenever they needed or wanted anything. School was but a distant memory. The situation at Toys R Us was madness. I arrived before 8:30 a.m. The first person in line had arrived at 10 p.m. on Thursday and was sitting in a tent. There were about 30 people in line. By the time the store opened, the line was over 100 people. After I arrived, many other people quickly started to arrive as well. I recognized at least 20 people from the line at Target. Those managers worked the line as well and kept telling people behind me the only Amiibo available for them was Greninja and Pac-Man, of course. That wasn't really correct. There were a lot of other Amiibos available, but I guess they were just trying to make sure people didn't get too crazy too soon. As soon as they opened promptly at 10, the registers crashed. It took a while, but they finally came back up, and I got out of there in order to head to my next stop. Oh, God, man. When I left, there were Greninjas available, and of course, Pac-Man. Plus a few others I didn't know. A dragon? Yeah, that was Charizard. And he says he left with 1 Greninja, and that was the one he pre-ordered, I think. The next Toys R Us was a local one. I got there at about 10:45 a.m. and there was no line. They had tons of Silver Marios, and Pac-Man of course, plus a few singles. I got the ones I had reserved. Okay, this is where he got the Greninja reserved. They had no Greninjas left, so it was a good thing I had reserved it. I left with 1 Greninja. Picture attached. He says, I got home at 11:30 a.m. and I still have a full day ahead of me. Pat. So there it is. And thanks again to my awesome friend Pat, I am once again current with my Amiibo collection. Yeah, for now anyways. The rest of the Way 4 that I pre-ordered from GameStop is on its way via UPS, and I'll be sure to do an unboxing video for that. So until then, I want to thank you for watching, and you'll see me next time.